Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us, taking the time to this morning to share a little information with you. My name is Jason Lotzer, and on behalf of Blue Cross Blue Shield North Dakota, I'd like to welcome you to this webinar presented by Blue Cross vendor partner Azurance Group. Just a few housekeeping items before we get going here this morning. Everybody will be on mute, so we won't be able to hear you, but we encourage you to ask questions at any time. If you look at the GoToWebinar panel, you'll see a questions tab there. And if you type in any questions, we will ask those of the presenters as we're going along. And then we'll have time for questions and answers at the end as well. So encourage you, anything that hits you, comes up during any of this content that we're sharing with you today, just ask a question in there and we'll get to them as quickly as we can. For a short introduction, Azurance Group, if you haven't heard of them, is a supplemental insurance producer offering a full range of ancillary products for employers and individuals alike. So Azurance partners with the country's top rated carriers to offer coverage that protects financial well-being and just overall quality of life for all your employees. So over the past year, we know with COVID-19, a lot has changed in the world, both health and supplemental insurance. So in today's webinar, our guest speakers are going to be taking us through some of these changes and what they mean for the future, as well as highlighting some of Azurance Group's product offerings and how they can help employers like you make it through the pandemic with a solid competitive benefits package. Joining us today from Azurance are Matt Sullivan and Dan Lashovsky. And without further ado, I'll hand it over to Chris Kalesa from Blue Cross Blue Shield to kick us off. Are you there, Chris?
You bet. Thanks, Jason. Hi, I'm Chris Kalesa, the Director of Sales here at Blue Cross Blue Shield, and this is kind of a fun, exciting adventure that we're on here, introducing you as employers to Azurance and what it all can do for you and your employees. You know, with all that's happened over the past year or so, changes to the benefits landscape, they're just expected here throughout 2021. So we anticipate a lot of changes that employers will want to make either this year or maybe into next year. We've seen that 57% of employees say their benefits package is more important than ever before. And change isn't always bad. Even some good is coming from all the change that has happened recently with the pandemic. We see increased incentives for preventive care. Recently Blue Cross Blue Shield offered to waive cost shares for diagnosis and treatment of COVID-19 to help people get better quicker, and of course encouraging the vaccinations of all our people in the United States too. And then greater focus has been on mental health and financial well-being. For the mental health piece, there are more web-based and self-service type tools, similar to the Learn to Live tool that we've introduced to all of our clients and employees and members. There are telehealth options that are, with behavioral health apps available. You probably see multiple commercials on TV even now, and there's just a lot of different ways to access that. And services are included in health plans now more than ever. Telehealth has become an increasingly utilized service and offers a lot of different ways to access healthcare providers. And even just what's even offered in ancillary benefits too. And then for the financial well-being piece, we've got a lot of, self-assessments out there. Again, a lot of web-based self-service type tools. There's a lot of articles, a lot of videos out there one can tap into, and then Blue Cross Blue Shield is helping promote that through many of our wellness presentations that we come out and do with employers and employees as well. Employee assistance programs, or EAPs, can play a role too. Some of those EAPs can be standalone or as add-ons for ancillary benefits such as life and disability, and we'll get into that a little more today too. And to help people be more financially responsible, pre-tax benefits are becoming even more important as an option through an employer. Next slide. Throughout some of the pandemic, some healthcare costs were down. However, some reasons include that people postponed elective procedures or care and they did not want to walk into a clinic, so they opted for telehealth options. That ends up being a little less costly too, of course, than an actual office visit. Now that cities and states have and are opening up, People are becoming more comfortable going places. Thus, we're seeing the services increasing again, even those elective services too. Experts foresee an increased demand for elective procedures throughout the year 2021. Of course, that will drive up the cost of care again and increase claims. But if people do need those things done, we want to make sure that they do get them done at some point in time. A little over a third of employers are not anticipating a change to their 2021 benefits, but almost half of the employers are monitoring what's going on in today's world, in preparation for those future changes. Next slide. Employers may face some hard choices this year regarding their health insurance plans. Kind of what should they offer, and should they offer more than one plan? Should they look at more cost sharing with the employees? And how do you still retain your employees too if you're going to do that kind of thing too, or make changes? And how can ancillary plans enhance your benefits package for employees? I think that's a big one, and we'll see a lot of that moving forward. Here's where Azurance Group can help. Azurance Group can handle these changes with care and communicate transparently to help employers and employees understand what they can offer, what employers can offer, and then what employees can purchase. Matt, can you help explain how Azurance Group can help employers?
Yeah, I sure can, Chris. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you both Jason and Chris. Just a little bit about Azurance Group. Azurance Group is essentially, we're an employee benefits agency. We're based in Fargo with locations in Fargo, Bismarck, and Minot. We have 12 people on staff located throughout the state. Myself, I've been in the benefits industry for 25 years now, and very excited to have an opportunity to work with you and your employees. Azurance Group, as you all know, a comprehensive benefit plan is critical to attract and retain a talented workforce. And if you're like most organizations, you believe that more benefits means more budget and means more administrative work. But there's a solution that protects both yourself and your bottom line, or your employees and your bottom line. Along with our team, you can put together a benefit plan that levels the playing field and puts you in direct competition with organizations that have bigger bottom lines, bigger budgets. And you can also do that all with one vendor, and that's Azurance Group. Next slide, please, Jason. As Chris mentioned a couple of slides ago, there are some difficult decisions that may have to be made in regards to the design of your health insurance plan going into 2021 and 2022, whether that means increasing cost shares or moving to a high deductible healthcare plan. Well, there are ways to help your employees plan for that. Azurance Group partners with two national providers. One is WEX, as you, at least in the eastern side of the state, probably recognize. That's Discovery Benefits. And also Further, which is a national provider of health spending accounts based in the Minneapolis area. Both of these partners provide access to pre-tax benefits such as flexible spending accounts, health savings accounts, health reimbursement accounts, dependent care administration, commuter benefits, and corporate administration. All of these products help your employees plan using pre-tax benefits for elective procedures that they might have postponed in 2021. It's a great option, and a great option for you to help your employees budget around those expenses they already know about. And if they've had a nice plan in place, hopefully they can afford the deductible on a unexpected health expense as well. Next slide, please. Are layoffs impacting ancillary benefits? That's a great question. Employers, are not required to continue ancillary benefits during layoffs or furloughs. So if an employee, as an employer, if you've had layoffs or furloughs, those employees may or may not be covered. Some carriers, particularly during this pandemic, have allowed employers to elect whether or not they want to continue coverage for those employees. Many of those carriers are also waiving new hire waiting periods. So if you laid off a group of employees for, let's say, a couple of months in the summer and you brought them back, many carriers are allowing you to bring those employees back on without having to have waiting periods. However, this is in a case-by-case basis and carrier-by-carrier basis. So you need to understand your particular policies and work with a trusted advisor such as Azurance Group to make sure you are able to re-enroll those employees without them having to wait, whether it's a 3-month or a 6-month waiting period before the benefits go into effect. Also, as everyone knows, the Families First Coronavirus Response Act and the CARES Act provided enhanced and expanded unemployment insurance for those employees who were laid off or furloughed. Next slide, please, Jason. Just to kind of touch on the basics of what we're going to be talking about throughout this presentation, there are two types of insurance programs that we're going to be talking about. Employer paid benefits. Those are benefits that you as the employer pay for. Examples of those would be, of course, your health insurance, potentially a dental vision insurance, perhaps life insurance or long-term disability insurance, and even some employers have employer-paid short-term disability insurance. So some pros with those employer-paid benefits are they typically provide the lowest cost. Carriers know you're enrolling your employees have to be in it. They know that the checks are going to get there, premium is going to get paid, so they provide the lowest possible cost for you. These are also guaranteed issue, so your employees who maybe have health issues don't have to worry. Employer paid products, they're eligible for no matter what their health issues may be. These employer paid benefits also have more of a flexible plan design. You can work with carriers, work with your advisor on designing your life insurance, your disability programs to cater to your business's needs and what your employees need. Some cons, obviously budget. You know, you're paying for the benefits, so that cost is coming out of your budget. There's also the chance, depending on how it's set up, that the benefits to your employees may be taxable. And that's depending on the amount of life insurance you provide them and also how the disability products are set up. So again, that's an opportunity where you need to work with a trusted advisor to determine how you want each of the premiums to be paid. There are ways to make it tax-free, but it is definitely more complicated. It needs to be set up correctly at the start of the program. Employer-sponsored benefits, these are at no cost to the organization. Employees get group rates on coverage that you as the employer have had an opportunity to vet, to go through, to kind of approve and make sure it's above board and what you're looking for. And this is purchased through your workplace, typically on a payroll deducted basis. Examples of employer-sponsored plans would be pretty much everything I said above except health insurance. There's also accident, cancer, critical illness, hospital indemnity, among many others that we'll have the chance to talk about here. The pros, obviously, it's easy on the budget. There is no direct cost to the employer. There is some guaranteed issue. So when you elect to provide employer-sponsored life insurance, disability insurance, or any of the above different types of insurance, there may be some guaranteed issues. So your employees that have health issues should and may be able to get some type of coverage without having to get underwritten. Cons, kind of on the flip side, if your employees want additional coverage above the guaranteed issue, they will have to go through a simplified underwriting. Typically, this simplified underwriting is a lot easier than going to your local life insurance agent. The application process is simpler, but underwriting may be required, and your employees that have health issues may be declined coverage. There also are participation minimums. So carriers have requirements that, you know, if you only have one employee enroll out of 20, they may say, sorry, we cannot, you know, financially make this work. So there are minimums. Again, work with your advisor to understand what those minimums are and to communicate that If we do not get the enrollment we need, these plans may not be in effect. There are limited plan designs on the voluntary side or the employer-sponsored side, where you don't have quite the same amount of flexibility that you have with employer-paid benefits. And obviously, when you're providing benefits to your employees where they need to pay, you need to provide strong employee education, and employees need to be engaged because they really need to understand what they're purchasing. And that's where we come into play as well, providing a solid employee education so you can trust that your employees are purchasing what they need and not what the salesperson wants them to purchase. All right, Jason, next slide, please. The rise of voluntary employee benefits, those that are paid for by your employees, has been predicted for pretty much my entire career. They've seen it, the participation in these and the premiums for the national carriers grow and grow and grow as budgets tighten. And also, as competition increases, voluntary benefits have become kind of the go-to strategy to bolster an employee benefit package. This slide pretty much covers what we just went through. Dan Lashovsky, our sales manager at Azurance Group, is going to get into details on some of the more common employer-sponsored benefits. But, a couple of points that I want to reach out, you really want to start by working with a carrier and an experienced advisor to tailor those benefits to match what you as the employer want to accomplish and what your employees need. Really need to understand and communicate these products with your employees so that they're successful and so that employees buy into them and understand what they're getting. And it also offers new ways to leverage existing benefits. Perhaps it's increasing life insurance coverage so an employee gets a more of a level of life insurance where their family can survive. Perhaps it's being creative and providing some tax-free benefits for your disability programs. But I'm going to hand it off to Dan Lashovsky to talk a little bit more about specific products.
All right, thanks, Matt. Good morning, everyone. Dan Lashovsky, manager of Azurance Group. The next few slides I'll be talking about and speaking to have really become relevant with the pandemic in the last year. The first one is hospital indemnity insurance, and it's really become a popular product. Really, as we all know through experience and discovered that hospital stays are extremely expensive. And even if we have our major medical plans in place, there's still a lot of cost share to the employee. One of the benefit trends in the market, I think Chris talked about in the beginning, was the increase of cost shares to the employee, increasing deductibles on their major medical insurance, co-insurance, and any co-payments that they may pay. And really where these voluntary insurance products come into play, the employer trend is really trying to offset the higher employee costs by adding or expanding the voluntary benefit offerings that are available through Azurance. Really obtaining group rates at no additional cost to the organization. With the hospital indemnity policy, as I said, it works great with any type of extended major medical plan. It just extends benefits to recover from a serious illness or injury. The benefits are paid directly to the policyholder. The predetermined amount can be used for whatever the beneficiary chooses. In a lot of cases, it's to cover unexpected health costs, as I just talked about, whatever the patient's responsible for. The money used could be held to replace any lost income during the period of time of hospitalization, to help pay the monthly bills during hospitalization or following thereafter. It can supplement a spouse's earnings. Obviously, a spousal support when a person's hospitalized, they're not earning a paycheck. It can be used to help pay for out-of-pocket costs, food, travel, hotel, family costs, etc. The benefits of a hospital indemnity plan really cover inpatient hospital stays. A lump sum benefit paid for hospital admission, benefits paid for daily hospital confinement, ICUs, and any surgeries that may take place. Benefits are paid directly to the employee. Most of the hospital plans that are on the market also encourage wellness, and there's an annual wellness check that's given to each of the employees for routine preventive services throughout the year as well. Next slide, please. And you think about the pandemic in the last year and how it's ever changed our way of thinking about our lives and how we plan for our financial goals with our employees, the uncertainty of what's ahead of us. And really, when you think of most people, they don't get out of bed in the morning and think about purchasing more insurance. So really, I think the last year, in 2020, 2021, as we're moving in, has really brought awareness and the reality to the uncontrollable illnesses or accidents that occur, and really what it brings to a family. And really the ultimate goal is how do we protect our families from these uncertain environments that we're in. We really broke it down to a couple different things. It's really engaging participation. We have a great chance in 2021 with open enrollment. It's an excellent time to act. Really choosing the right insurance plan benefits to help yourself become more prepared for the unexpected. It's a good time to encourage participation, talk about these plans throughout the year. If an individual doesn't act, the risk that they take on, we've all heard families that have had an unfortunate event this last year and in the past. 60% of all Americans are unable to cover an unexpected expense of $1,000 if you think of that. Really, employees increasingly are relying on their employer for financial security. Unfortunately, those that were not prepared with, it's really going to affect depleting their savings. They might have to dip into a retirement fund that they've saved their whole working career for, or a lot of them actually can't truthfully recover financially from an event like that. So the families that really look into the voluntary plans, take advantage of open enrollment this year. It's really a direct payment to the employee, which allows them to pay for mortgage, rent, puts food on the table, travel, hospital stays, funeral costs, and really use the money any way they really need it. The trends ongoing and the ongoing threat to people's long-term health and financial well-being, the trends that we've seen is just really, and Matt talked about, is employers needing to engage in the employee benefit decision-making as much as possible. The decisions that the employees make this year really could be critical more than ever moving forward. The voluntary plans, the worksite voluntary plans that are on this slide that are really popular, are becoming more and more popular that we've seen in the industry. The accident insurance, injuries on or off the job, paying money directly to the individual, no matter what they're doing. Critical illness, it's a lump sum benefit for a major health issue, heart attack, stroke, cancer, or the cancer insurance, have all been popular options to provide confidence and have provided security for all the employees across the board. Next slide. Voluntary life insurance. And with the pandemic, we've also noticed and has underscored the importance of protecting one's family with life insurance. For many Americans, the easiest way of obtaining life insurance is through their benefit package or their employer. Most employers' insurance offerings are the core consideration in choosing a job. Matt got into that a little bit. It's critical that in addition to a comprehensive health insurance plan, that you're also offering a robust life insurance option. And just offering the insurance isn't enough. Really, employers need to educate employees on the benefits of life insurance, the details, the specifics that are available with the plan, and really moving forward is urge employees to enroll to protect their families and financial security. Most plans, I think Chris talked about this a little bit as well, most life insurance plans, employer paid and voluntary, there's an option for EAP, employee assistance programs, that assist employees and eligible dependents with personal and job-related concerns with 24-hour day assistance. And that's really become more popular than ever with work from home, school situations that we've had in the last year, the pandemic itself. Have really become popular, and they're usually attached right to a life insurance plan as an option for an employer. But no one expects an employee to die, but unfortunately it happens. We've had a client that decided to offer group insurance after one of their employees had passed away. And he had to explain to a grieving spouse that there was no insurance benefit to provide for the family. It was a painful conversation he never really wanted to do again. And really, the stat, less than 20% of Americans have an individual life insurance policy. And most advisors recommend life insurance to be a minimum of 5 times an annual salary. So if an employer-paid product is available, voluntary insurance is the easiest way through the employer to meet that benefit plan or meet that financial security option. With that, I'll turn it back over to Matt to speak a little bit about disability insurance.
All right,
Hey, Dan,
thank you.
I did have one question for you here. You talked a little bit about, it says here, you talked a little bit about educating employees. Is that education something that you guys provide, or do you just provide information to the employers to hand on? And how do you go about educating the employees of our employer groups?
Yeah, well, we partner with the employer group and obviously help the employer group explain the benefits to their employees. But what we do is partake in an active enrollment if that's an option that an individual or a group would want, where we meet with the individual employees and offer the education or in a group setting and provide that option to explain the benefits in detail, answer the questions directly to the individual employees, and find the right fit that for them and their families.
Perfect. Thanks, Dan.
Great. All right, thank you. Thanks for the great question. So now, as the title said, now is the time to consider disability insurance. And of course, a topic everybody loves to talk about. What's going to happen if you become disabled? Disability insurance is one of the most overlooked and, in my opinion, one of the most valuable employee benefits that can be offered to your employees. When you think about it, employees insure essentially all of their material things, their home, their cars, their toys, boats, vacation home property, everything is insured. But what most employees do not do is they do not insure the ability to purchase those things, which is your ability to earn an income. And that is exactly what disability insurance does. You know, we have short-term disability insurance, which covers, it helps your employees pay for those unexpected leaves from work that, you know, let's call it 3 to 6 months. And long-term is for those more chronic injuries or illnesses that may last the rest of their lives. The problem with disability insurance is if a person tries to buy it individually, it is, first off, very, very expensive. And secondly, it's very difficult to get qualified for. You know, that's something that I did as a producer, as a broker, offered individual disability insurance a lot of times to business owners, maybe professionals, and I would say nearly half of the time that individual did not qualify due to underwriting issues, whether it was a, you know, arrhythmia or weight or some other issue. It's very, very difficult. It's actually a headache to write individual disability insurance. The great thing is there is an option. There is employer-paid disability insurance, where we mentioned you as the employer can set up a program, define the coverage, and pay for that for your employees. If that's not in your budget, we also have the ability to offer employer or employee paid, so voluntary long-term or short-term disability insurance. It's reasonably inexpensive, especially if you were to look at what it costs compared to an individual plan. A lot of times I'll tell a small business owner that, you know, they may be looking at insuring themselves, but run into a difficult, maybe underwriting predicament. And it's like, and I'll just mention to them, well, why don't you pay for the employer paid plan, because not only will you get coverage, Mr. Employer, you'll also be able to cover your employees, and it will be nearly the same premium that you're going to pay for yourself. So it is a reasonable opportunity. There's no underwriting, so everyone qualifies. And think about it, a lot of people don't understand that disability strikes across our demographics and across our workforce. We talk to white collar, whether it's an engineer or an accountant, and they're like, well, why do we need disability insurance? It's not going to happen to us. I can roll myself back in front of my computer screen and do my job. Well, really, I mean, is that healthy for you? Is that something you should really be doing? Do you really need to be covering and going back to work 40 hours a week when you don't really have to, because you would have coverage through your employer? Also, people think they can rely on the government. We have disability insurance through Social Security. Yes, that is true. We do pay for it every month out of our paycheck. However, Social Security disability benefits are very, very strict, very, very rigid, and it takes close to 9 months to a year to qualify. So how do you bridge that gap if you even qualify based on Social Security? So what's the solution? You work with an expert. All plans are not created equal. Disability insurance is probably one of the benefits that has the most complicated contract language. So you want to work with an expert like our team at Azurance Group to customize and create a plan that works exactly for you as a business and also for your employees. Next slide, please, Jason. This slide highlights a lot of the products that Dan and myself spoke about. You're able to do these on employer paid or employer sponsored. There are a few that we didn't mention, and actually one that I hope we get to use in the future, which is travel insurance, where you can elect for a very, very inexpensive premium to have essentially, and the product that we have is sponsored by of the Blue Cross Association, basically Blue Cross insurance in a foreign country, which we found very, very popular. In most years, we'd be seeing that being sold right about now as people are preparing to go out on spring breaks. Perhaps if you're an employer and you have a incentive trip, you can offer this to your employees for a really small amount of money, and then you don't have to have any anxiety at all. Personally, I've gone on trips with my father, who's had a couple of strokes, and I just buy it because I don't want to have to worry about it. He actually had his first stroke in Cancun, and it was a disaster. So it would be really nice to have had this at that point in time, but I didn't know about it. All right, next slide, please. All right, plan your benefit package for a changing environment. What we already know, better benefits attract your top employees. It boosts retention. It can also improve production in your bottom line. As the market turns, I think most of us can agree that hopefully we're seeing the end of the COVID-19 pandemic, and hopefully your businesses are going to begin to see or have seen an uptick in income, production. Maybe you're hiring again. As hiring returns to industries across the state, it's essential that employers be proactive and not reactive to the market. Now is not a time to fall behind your competition in hiring employees because your benefit package is not up to snuff. Some statistics that Mercer picked up in June of 2020, I'll just read through them real quick. 32% of respondents are expanding virtual or telehealth programs, and Chris talked about that. 25% are enhancing mental health support services. Again, Chris talked about that. We're us at Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Dakota, they're doing a great job highlighting those. 20% are increasing cost sharing for plan expenses, moving to a high deductible healthcare plan, perhaps. 16.5% of employers are looking at adding or expanding their voluntary benefits. Voluntary benefits, as we've been mentioning for the past 20 minutes, is a great way to expand your benefits for a limited small cost to employers. And 13.5% of respondents are augmenting services for managing high-cost claims, such as specialty pharmacy drugs. This is not my area of expertise, but I do know that, you know, especially pharmacy drugs, the specialty drugs, the cost of those are skyrocketing. So I guess the moral of the story is, don't wait. It's okay to start working on your benefits right now. You know, perhaps you have a January 1st renewal for your health insurance and most of your benefits. It's okay to start early. It's okay to get working now and not wait until the last minute. Any of these programs that we've talked about, we can start midstream, middle of the year. It doesn't have to wait until January 1st. All right, Jason, next slide, please. And I'm going to hand it off to Dan to kind of finish off the presentation.
All right, thanks, Matt. You talk about the pandemic and this last year with individual awareness on insurance benefits and situations that happen to families and really the uncertainty of the future. A great benefit strategy moving into 2021 is to take the necessary time to connect with your employees. Really engaging your employees in the benefit decision-making process as much as possible. Getting all the employees to pay attention to their benefits, and most importantly, how to use their benefits that are offered to their fullest. And then employers should use the opportunity to educate employees about their strategic benefit plans and why it's a smart investment. Obviously, they're in place for a purpose, and that's where the education comes into play. The good news is companies similar to many that are on the phone can offer a benefit package that's affordable to their employees, most importantly, and less cost to the business than they originally thought with the voluntary options that we do have. I'll talk a little bit about the Azurance team and what we offer and how we partner. Azurance partners with you to create a realistic benefit strategy, the one that protects your bottom line. As your trusted advisor, we get to understand your business goals. We continue to evaluate your current benefit strategy and really ultimately help you make better decisions in our partnership. The team itself will get to know your employees so we can appropriately educate, advise, empower, and enroll your employees into these important benefits. Azurance Group's partners with the top national carriers to bring employers the products that are right for the business and the products that are right for their employees. We have a highly experienced team committed to providing consistent service to clients. Multiple team members have over 20 years of experience with our company. We will help you every step of the way. The partnership between Azurance and Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Dakota allows our clients to easily select and manage the comprehensive benefit package that includes both employer paid and the voluntary products, the full solution for the group. And then our local agents and service teams around the state of North Dakota are here to assist you. We're dedicated to providing continuous education and enrollment service to ensure employees understand their full value of benefits, and so the employee fully utilizes the benefit package that you provide. To learn more about Azurance Group, our national carriers, our product offerings, I'd ask each to visit our company website, azurance.net, or contact Azurance Group by calling 1-800-575-9643. Thank you. I'll turn it back to Jason.
Thanks for that, Dan. I'm going to open it up for some questions. I didn't see any additional questions come in, guys, so I'm going to talk a little bit. I just wanted to say thanks, Chris, Matt, and Dan, for sharing all this information, helping educate us today on the ancillary benefits offered by Azurance Group. For all of you that are on the line still here, looks like most of you hung through the entire presentation. There will be a little survey link to follow up in an email here, so we appreciate any feedback that you have the presentation today, any future topics that you'd like to learn more about. Go ahead and take that survey. It'll help us provide more content to you and a little more education on some of these products and offerings. And again, as always, like Dan had said, visit azurance.net, where you can find links to a local advisor to help educate your employees more on this. And there's all the product offerings, national carriers that we have on azurance.net. So it's a great resource to look out and learn a little bit more about Azurance. So I do have one question that came in here. Do you offer EAPs? Matt or Dan, if you want to take that.
Yeah, this is Matt. I can certainly take that. We specifically, as Azurance Group, we don't offer it ourselves, but our carriers, so if you were to purchase life insurance or disability insurance, our carriers offer that as typically a no-cost add-on. So, it's not something, I guess it is something you can buy on your own, but typically, in most cases, you get that for free. There is an EAP program. I know Unum has one. I think Standard Insurance has one, and I think just about every one of our carriers partners, either they have their own EAP or they partner with a national provider to provide those services. And you can also, when you have that service, you can buy up to different levels of service if you want a more comprehensive EAP program than the one that is just provided for you for free.
Great, thanks, Dan. I don't see any other questions in, so I guess if you'd like to close us out, Matt and Dan, if you have any final words. Again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us, and I'll just turn it back to Matt if he has any final thoughts.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. Just again, want to echo what Jason said. Thank you for spending 45 minutes on the webinar with us. I hope you found some value to what we spoke about. And again, like Dan mentioned, if you have any questions that are all curious about what we spoke about, please reach out to us either via our webpage, our 1-800 number. If you look through the webpage, you'll notice that you can actually find one of our individual sales and account executives who are there to help you in whatever part of the state you're located in. So with that, I just want to say thank you and have a great Wednesday.
Yes, thank you all, and thanks again for joining us today. Goodbye, everybody.